We are at stage 4, paragraph page 362. Stage 4, 362. And our last headword was PM, Newark type of lesson. Okay, let's start with revision. Ready? Here we go. What am I doing? What am I doing? You're whispering. When do we whisper? When do we whisper? We whisper when we don't want other people to hear us. Very good. What's the opposite of the verb to whisper? What's the opposite of the verb to whisper? The opposite of the verb to whisper is to shout.
It shouts.
Very good. Can poor families live in castles? Can poor families live in castles? No. Poor families can't live in castles. Why not? Why not? Because you need a lot of money to buy a castle. What's the opposite of poor? What's the opposite of poor? The opposite of poor is rich. Who's the richest person that you know? Who's the richest person that you know? Bill Gates is the richest person that I know. When can we see a rainbow in the sky? When can we see a rainbow in the sky? We can see a rainbow in the sky on days when the sun is shining and there is also rain. How many colors are there in a rainbow? How many colors are there in a rainbow? There are 7 colors in a rainbow. Who decide what you eat for breakfast every day? You or your parents? Who decide what you eat for your breakfast every day? You or your parents? My parents decide what I eat for breakfast every day. Why do a lot of people in the world decide to study English? Why do a lot of people in the world decide to study English? A lot of people in the world decide to study English because it's an important language. If you want to speak to people from other countries, what's fur? What's fur? Fur is the soft hair that covers the bodies of animals like cats and dogs. What color is a polar bear's fur? What color is a polar bear's fur? A polar bear's fur is white. Does a dog have any fur on the end of its nose? Does a dog have any fur on the end of its nose? No, a dog doesn't have any fur on the end of its nose. Make a noise like an animal. Make a noise like an animal, please. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm making a noise like a dog. Does your stomach make noises when you're hungry? Does your stomach make noises when you're hungry? Yes, my stomach makes noises when I'm hungry. Do we make much noise when we whisper? Do we make much noise when we whisper? No, we don't make much noise when we whisper. We make very little noise when we whisper. What do we have to put on a postcard or a letter before we can send it? What do we have to put on a postcard or letter before we can send it? We have to put an address and a stamp on a postcard or a letter. before we can send it. Stamp your feet on the floor, please.
It,
What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm stamping my feet on the floor.
it, it was.
Do you know the way from here to the nearest
It,
shop? Do you
it
know the
was.
way from there
It,
to the nearest shop? Yes,
it,
I know the way from here to the nearest shop. Tell me the way. Tell me the way, please.
it,
You go out of the building, turn left, and walk along ABC Street. Do you think you can find your way out of this building with your eyes closed? Do you think you can find your way out of that building with your eyes closed? Yes or
it,
no?
it,
Yes, I think I can find my way out of this building with my eyes closed. Tell me two ways to get across a river. Tell me two ways to get across a river, please. Two ways to get across a river are by bridge or by swimming across. Which is the quickest way to travel around the world? To catch a train, to sail on a ship, or to fly in an airplane? Which is the quickest way to
it
travel
was
around the
his
world? To
mistake
catch a
for
train, to sail on a
this
ship, or to fly in an
it,
airplane?
it
The quickest way to travel around the world
was.
is to fly in an airplane.
It,
Very good. Okay, next. When do we say shall we go to the park?
it,
When do we say shall we go to the park?
it,
Let's go to the park, or how about going to the park? We say shall we go to the park? Let's go to the park, or how about going to the park when we think it's a good plan or a good idea to go to the park. Okay? Next. Now I'll tell you something and you say a sentence with
it,
shall we, okay? You're you're with a friend and you want to play football in the garden. You're with a friend and you want to play football in the garden. Shall we play football in the garden? You're at home with your mom. You have tickets for the cinema and you want to leave now. You're at home with your mom. You have tickets for the cinema and you want to leave now. Mom, shall we leave now? Now let's make a sentence with let's. Okay, it's hot and you and your friend are both very thirsty. It's hot and you and your friends are both very thirsty. Let's drink some water.
it was it,
You're at home with your dad. There's a lot of snow on the ground outside. You're at home with your dad. There's a lot of snow on the ground outside.
it was
Let's go outside and make a snowman. And make a snowman. Okay, now make a sentence with how about. There we go. You're in a shop
it
with your
was
parents
it,
and your grandpa's
it,
birthday is tomorrow.
it, it,
You're in a shop with your parents and your grandpa's birthday is tomorrow. How about buying grandpa a present? You're
it,
watching a boring TV program with your mom. You're watching a boring TV program with your mom. How about watching a different program? Very good. Is 11 a.m. before midday or after midday? Is 11
it,
a.m. before midday or after
it
midday?
was it,
11 a.m. is
it
before
was
midday,
because
and 2 p.m. and 2 p.m.
it,
2 p.m. is after midday. Very good. Is it right to
Okay.
say it's 20 past 4 p.m.? Is it right to say 20 past 4 p.m.? No, it isn't right to say it's 20 past 4 p.m. We say it's 4:20 p.m. What's the time now? What's the time now?
Okay.
It's 6:12 p.m. Okay. What's the time by this clock? What's the time by this clock? It's 3 p.m. What's the time by this clock? What's the time by this clock? It's 5 minutes past 3. What time do you eat dinner every day? What time do you eat dinner every
Okay.
day? I eat dinner at 7 p.m. every day. Very good. Okay, so that's the end of our revision. Let's have your work. Okay, repeat. Once upon a time. Once upon a time. Okay, listen. Children's stories often start with the words once upon a time. There was. Okay, let's practice. Which words do children's stories often start with? Which words do children's stories often start with? Children's stories often start with the words once upon a time. There was. Give me an example. Give me an example, please. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived near a forest. One day she went for a walk in the forest. Soon she saw a house. Okay, next repeat. Opposite. Okay, opposite. The word opposite can mean on the other side. For example, there's a house opposite my building. This chair is opposite that chair. Let's practice.
Listen to it
Is your window
slowly.
opposite the door? Is
Each
your window opposite the
object
door? No, the
is
window isn't opposite
object
the door. What can you see outside your building? What can you see outside your building? I can see another building, etc. outside my building. Okay, next. It's going to rain. It's going to eat. I'm going to eat some biscuits. Okay, listen, we can use going to when we think that we know something will happen. Okay, let's practice. What am I going to do? What am I going to do?
what am
You're
I doing
going to pick up your pen. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? You're going to push the table. Do you think it's going to rain soon? Do you think it's going to rain soon? Yes, I think it's going to rain soon. Why? Why do you think so? Because the sky's very cloudy. Okay, next, listen. We can also use going to when we tell people about a plan. For example, I've got some biscuits at
my
home
first
in my
was
kitchen, and I have a plan to eat them this
three
evening. So I can tell you I'm going to eat some biscuits this evening.
box right
Let's practice. What are
my
you going to
first
do after the lesson today? What are you going to do after the lesson today? I'm going to eat
I'm going
dinner
to take
after the lesson today. What are you going to do next Saturday? What are you going to do next Saturday? I'm going to visit a friend next Saturday. Or I don't know what I'm going to do next Saturday. Are you going to play a computer game this evening? Are you going to play a computer game this evening? Yes, I'm going to play a computer game this evening. Very good. Okay, next repeat. Dentist. Dentist. Okay, listen. We have to visit the dentist if we get toothache. Let's practice. Who do we have to visit if we get toothache? Who do we have to visit if we have toothache? We have to visit the dentist if we get toothache. Do you enjoy going to the dentist? Do you enjoy going to the dentist? Yes or no? Yes, I enjoy going to the dentist. Next, repeat plant. Okay, listen. Some animals that only eat plants are cows, horses, elephants, giraffes, kangaroos, rabbits, etc. Let's practice. Name some animals that only eat plants. Name some animals that only eat plants, please. Some animals that only
Deer,
eat plants are cows, horses, elephants,
rabbit,
giraffes, kangaroos, rabbits, etc.
rabbit, mouse,
Can
dwarf,
some plants grow inside a building? Can some plants grow inside a building? Yes, some plants
buildings,
can grow
there are
inside a
some
building.
trees and trees.
Very good. Next, could I have a drink, please? Could I have a drink, please? Okay, very good. Okay, so listen. When we ask for something, it's more polite to use the word could than the word can. Let's practice. Which is more polite to say? Can I have a drink, please? Or could I have a drink, please? Which is more polite to say? Can I have a drink, please? Or could I have a drink, please? It's more polite to say, could I have a drink, please? Give me another example of could. Give me another example of could, please. Mom, could we have fish and chips for dinner tonight, please? Very good. Next, repeat. Hill. Very good. Okay, listen. Hill. A mountain is higher than a hill.
First, a
Let's
mountain
practice.
higher
Which is higher,
than
a
a
hill or
hill.
a mountain?
First,
Which is
that's
higher, a hill or a mountain?
water.
A mountain is higher
First,
than a hill.
a mountain
How do you feel
higher
after running up
water.
a big hill? How do you feel after running up a big hill? I feel tired after running up a big
After
hill.
a
Very good.
tree
Next, repeat. Follow.
and bubbles,
Very good. Okay, listen. Friday always
there
follows Thursday. Okay, let's practice. Do you follow me out of the room at the end of the lesson? Do you follow me out of the room at the end of the lesson? Yes, I follow you out of the room at the end of the lesson. Does Friday
is
always follow Thursday? Does Friday always follow Thursday? Yes, Friday always
Friday.
follows Thursday.
English arrows,
Which
Thursday.
letter follows E in the
Instead
alphabet?
of
Which letter follows E in the alphabet?
is
F follows
alphabet
E in the
follows
alphabet.
T.
Which season
Alphabet
follows summer? Which
is
season follows summer? Autumn
summer,
follows summer.
autumn. Next summer,
Which number follows the number 13?
autumn,
Which number follows the number 13? 14 follows the number 13. Okay, very good. Now let's move on to our reading. Okay, so our reading is at stage 3.
with fish,
Paragraph page 180. Last headword was then. Okay, so
Okay.
let's start with the next headword.
Okay.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Okay, here we go.